English translation. 444th contact Friday, 23rd February 2007, 15:18 hours.
Do not turn around, and guess who is behind you?
I have already recognized your voice, Enjana. Be greeted and welcome.
That is not enough. So, it is a requirement for me to hug you. It is a pleasure to be entitled to visit you. It has been so long since we last saw each other.
It is also a great pleasure for me that you are here again.
Ptah has made it possible for me because I want to discuss some things with you that move me and that I only want to entrust to you.
You honor me with your trust.
Can we talk about it right now? Because I am very much urged to claim your trust with my request. Because it is so that I am impatient to hear your advice when you are not lacking time.
Girl, time is not of the essence when it comes to having an important conversation and giving advice. So it is not a question, because of course we can immediately respond to your request and talk about it. Do not be embarrassed and just state openly what moves you.
Thanks, but it will take some time to explain everything. The matter is this.
I would like to explain the following and then give the appropriate advice.
With your explanation and your advice, you free me from all my big worries I had during the last weeks. My very dear thanks. Let me hug you again. Thank you. Thank you. My worries were really groundless. Thank you for your kind words, for the explanations and the advice.
You do not owe me thanks, because your trust is more than gratitude enough. I am sure it would have been easier for you in the last few weeks if you had come here earlier so that we could talk about everything and find the advice. But I would certainly have allowed you to come here during working hours, for example after we had done the correction work together with Bernadette.
Unfortunately, that was not possible because we had extremely important tasks to do, which did not allow us to devote ourselves to private matters. Therefore, I was not able to visit you after the correction work. Our work was really very important and could not be delayed, so we even had to spend our free time on it.
Then the whole thing must have been really important.
It really was. If you want, I can explain everything to you in secrecy, because it must not be mentioned publicly.
No need, my child. What I do not know does not stir me up, if you understand what I mean.
Yes, I understand, because I know the saying. But you obviously do not know curiosity.
This evil has been foreign to me since my childhood, thanks to Svath, who taught me about such things. My lack of curiosity has saved me a lot of trouble and many problems in my life.
I can understand that, because curiosity is a vice, and very often brings unpleasant inconvenience and even danger.
Your words in the curious one's ear. But do you have anything concerning predictions for the near future? Ta told me during our last conversation that he would inform you if there were any extraordinary predictions.
Yes, he told me to tell you a few things, but first I would like to tell you what Zaphanat Paneach told me to tell you, because you asked Ta to ask him if your internet safety was guaranteed. Zaphanat Panek explained that if he found the time, he would have to check everything first, because only then could he say whether the measures taken by Stefan were sufficient. However, knowing Stefan's work, it was assumed that everything was secured to the best of his ability. Further also lets you know that completely negligent and irresponsible action has been taken on the Earth in general for years, with regard to the earthly networking of global computer and internet technology, and with regard to the entire distribution, use, and operation of computer and internet electronics and other electronics, and that this will continue. He let it be explained that the entire electronics on the Earth, including the worldwide networking of computers and the Internet, etc., has, for some time now, reached a level that could lead to a worldwide catastrophe through criminal and felonious machinations, in the form of a worldwide collapse of the entire computer, Internet, and electronics technology. As he stated some time ago, for some 3 years now, criminals, terrorists, secret services, and felonious elements and organizations, as well as the military and governments of many states, have been able to bring about a worldwide collapse of the computer network, the Internet, and all electronics at any time. And when that happens, which is to be feared on the basis of the state of affairs as a whole, then everything collapses, both public and private communications, public and private transport of persons and goods, security services, the operation of hospitals, the general water supply and food and medical supplies, as well as the whole essence of financial management with regard to banking institutions and others, but so also administrations of all kinds. The collapse of the electrical power supply, etc., must also be mentioned, as well as the collapse of all work in factories, in agricultural and horticultural enterprises, etc., because everything already depends on electronics and is defenselessly at the mercy of criminals, terrorists, the military, secret services, governments, authorities, and felonious elements. Internet banking will also be affected by this, which is already so negative that people who carry out financial transactions in this form will be seriously harmed by criminals, because there are too many defective entities that do not guarantee security. In fact, all over the world, the spread of the Internet and all electronics has been so irresponsible that the necessary protection has been completely ignored. The whole thing has been handled and exploited from the very beginning, without exception, for financial gain, without the necessary research to ensure the security of the computer system of the Internet and electronics, and therefore all the trappings that belong to the life of the Earth humans and to their security in all things to do with its extensive infrastructure for the entire economy, etc., of the Earth and the human beings. If the whole thing really happens, and there is a danger of it happening, then a worldwide catastrophe of immeasurable proportions will occur.
These are fantastic prospects.
It still seems fantastic, but the facts are there that everything can come true if irresponsible elements use the given possibilities. Unfortunately, I myself do not understand much about this technology, but I can say what is already a fact today according to Zafanat Paneach's statement. Various states and their secret services, first of all the USA, have developed their computers, internet, and electronic technology so that they can penetrate any computer without any obstacles and get hold of even the most secret data. Besides the fact that they also have the possibility to browse and change any computer data. This does not only refer to computers and data of companies and corporations as well as authorities, universities, organizations, religious communities, associations, military and governments, etc., but also to any computer and data of a purely private nature. The whole thing is carried out secretly and also illegally for a long time, without the governments knowing anything about it, let alone everyone else who is affected by it. Basically, says Zafanat Paneash, the hard disks for computers are and have been manipulated for years, such that the secret services, etc., have no difficulty whatsoever in penetrating any computer and retrieving or modifying the data stored in it. On the other hand, no private security measures are of any use. precisely because even the hard disks for computers are manipulated from the ground up such that it is possible to penetrate any computer if there is any form of internet connection. Hard disks that have not been tampered with have not been on the market for years, and security measures against computer intrusion are only useful against so-called private hackers who gain unauthorized access to foreign computer systems, explained Zafanat Paneak. The unauthorized access by the secret services is so simulated and highly developed that there is no longer any defense against it with private computer technology on the Earth. Surveillance technology already exists on a large scale and is used by the secret services of various countries without having an official governmental mandate and thus without official permission. However, at least in the USA, such governmental orders and permits exist, but only in unofficial form. So there are already many millions of private citizens, companies, corporations, economic giants, religions and sects, associations, criminal and non-criminal organizations, as well as financial institutions, and many others who are illegally monitored and spied on by secret services, which is also the case with you or the Free Interest Group and your members, as Zafanat Paneach explained.
This is unpleasant news. I wonder if the hard drive of my computer is manipulated such that it keeps going crazy.
There is no doubt that there is manipulation, as Zafanat Paneach assured me when he informed me about these things.
Then our server would also have to be classified according to that which is outwitted. For my part, I actually do not stay on the internet.
Zafanat Paneach also talked about that, and he said that I should explain to you that your computer can be affected from the outside, even through the server, without you having a connection to the internet. This is because you also have to work with a manipulated hard drive that enables secret access. But now to the predictions, although there is not much to report. As Ptah explained, towards the end of this month of February, after 4 years of dormancy in the Mediterranean, the Italian volcano Stromboli will begin to become active again, leading to an indirect series of seaquakes near the Greek peninsula of Chalkidiki. Sumatra will also be affected by earthquakes again, which will claim numerous lives and cause great destruction. 2 earthquakes occur on the 6th of March in the area of the city of Penang, with a magnitude of 6.4 and 6.2. And what I should further report, which will come about at about the same time, relates to the EU, which broadens itself ever more to a dictatorship, and along with the amounts of billions which it receives from the member states for the maintenance of the bureaucracy, and so forth, will now also charge its own taxes in all the member states, and therewith act out further power through which all member states will be able to be further financially exploited. In addition to this, the EU also wants its own army with a strength of 100,000 men to be able to conduct military operations according to its own choosing. Furthermore, the EU Council will once more occupy itself with an action plan in regard to climate change. However, only in the sense that around 20% renewable energy is to be produced. That, however, as Ptah says, is nonsensical, because the measures which are discussed lead to no successful alteration regarding the improvement or even the halting of climate change. The whole matter of the climate disaster is, on one hand, already too far progressed in order to still be able to influence it for the better through small measures. And secondly, such resolutions are useless anyway, because they would not remedy the basic problem, namely overpopulation. Nothing more important can be explained until the 8th of March. Ptah will then probably tell you news again, for he will visit you on the night of that day, as I am to tell you. He has something of importance to tell you that he has cleared up.
Then it will be a long night again. But regarding the EU's plan of action in regard to renewable energies and regarding the climate change, I still want to say the following. Principally, the climate change can only thereby be usefully fought, and a degree of a previous form of climate can only be attained if, through a worldwide, rigorous stop to births, ordered and controlled by the governments, humanity is drastically reduced to a reasonable amount. The natural predetermined mass of population in regard to the planet Earth amounts to 529,000. Today, however, over 7,500,000 humans already exist on the Earth. Therefore, in excess of around 7,000, because according to your calculations, the terrestrial calculations of the population, which only speak of somewhat more than 6,000, are not correct. However, this mass of humanity means that, in every regard, ever more means are required for humanity's daily requirement and for the obtaining of energy than nature, and the planet, with its resources in the atmosphere, is able to cope with. In particular, CO2 is thereby to be named, as well as chlorofluorocarbons, which drive the atmosphere into a greenhouse effect and evokes monstrous climatic changes, which again lead to the gravest storms. Earthquakes and volcanic outbreaks, with enormous destruction, and which demands uncountable human lives. That is, even when the arrogant terrestrial geologists and climatologists, as well as other scientists, do not recognize these facts and therefore dispute them. Truly also renewable energies lead to climate change because, also through these, monstrously great amounts of CO2 are produced which have damaging effects on the entire climate system which, however, is not recognized by the responsible ones, or, against better knowledge, is simply vehemently denied. Therefore, the CO2 is not reduced, rather it is concentrated more and more, and consequently also destroys the climate more and more, respectively. It promotes the climate change more and more. The responsible ones of the governments and the scientists are arrogant, ignorant, or simply conceal the real facts in regard to the matter that all their measures for climate protection are completely useless, and rather, on the contrary, further promote climate change because, on one hand, the measures, which have been resolved and carried out, bring new emissions which destroy the climate, and, on the other hand, the world population increases by further hundreds of millions of humans during the implementation of the resolutions and the establishment of new technologies. These, however, again require new energies and new means for daily use, and so forth, which leads to this, that yet again and always, more and more new energy sources have to be created which emit CO2 and promote climate change, respectively, destroy the climate. Therefore, for a rational human being, the evil of climate change, as well as many other plagues, afflictions, injustice, adversary, harm, malice, need and misery and so forth, is clearly identifiable with the incessantly growing overpopulation. With overpopulation, terrestrial humanity has opened Pandora's box and can no longer close it, because the responsible ones of the world, the governments and authorities, as well as the terrestrial population, are too stupid, selfish, egoistical, and high-handed to recognize this truth, and to grasp and carry out the necessary countermeasures.
What you say is that which corresponds to the truth. Yet it requires rationality and intellect in order to comprehend the entire thing.
Which the responsible ones of the earth, the governments, as well as the authorities and scientists and so forth, however clearly lack. They have a good life for themselves, because it only worries them that everything is the best for themselves, while they do not care a jot what happens with the world, nature, the fauna and flora, as well as with the humanity when they pass on.
Also, that corresponds to that which really is. But what I still want to say, Ta will come to you in the first hours of the night on the 8th of March.
Then it is going to be another long night.
He will visit you really early.
But then I am not alone at the office, because usually Ava is there when it is early in the evening.
We know that. But Ta will make sure that Eve will leave your workroom and go to her bedroom by giving her the appropriate impulses. At least, that is what he said.
I would not put it past him, but I like to be surprised. Well, then I guess we will do our correction work again the following Saturday.
No, no one comes to do the correction work, because Ta only wants to talk to you about some important things that will not be official, as he said. After that, he will go back to his other obligations, which he has to fulfill on Era.
Fine. And Zafanat Paniak? When is he coming here to check our private internet security?
That may take some time, because he is away again and indispensable. That is why he has asked me to bring you the information he has been working on and collecting for several years through his research. He thought it was important to have the explanations delivered to you, which is what happened through me. So now I will go and say goodbye.